In section 3.2, we solved inequalities, but we avoided dividing by a negative or multiplying by a negative because it messes up the inequality. Okay, so when you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative, the inequality sign reverses. Okay, I'm going to show this using an inequality that's true. You don't need to write this down. Okay, let me think of a true inequality. It is true that 2 is less than 5. Okay, now if I times this by positive 3 on both sides, what do I get? I get 6 is less than 15. This is still true. I didn't mess up the inequality when I times by 3 or divided by 3. Okay, now let me start with that one again. Now what if I times by negative 3? Okay, so now I have negative 6 and I have negative 15. Is negative 6 less than negative 15? No, negative 6 is greater than negative 15. So when I multiply or divide by a negative, it ends up switching the inequality because the order of the number line on the positive versus the negatives is the opposite. Okay, so we're going to solve these inequalities. And if I multiply or divide by a negative on both sides, I'm going to switch the inequality sign. So let's just start out by solving like normal. So for the first one, negative 9x plus 1 is less than or equal to 73. I'm going to minus the 1. Okay, I got rid of the 1. So negative 9x is less than or equal to 72. Okay, now I'm going to go to the dividing step. Let me see. I'm going to divide by negative 9 on both sides. X, and I'm going to go ahead and put my answer. Okay, what is that? That's negative 8. Now let me think for a second. Okay, did I divide both sides by a negative? I divided by negative 9 on both sides. Because I divided both sides by a negative, this symbol has to switch to the other direction to make it true. Okay, so that's the trick we're adding on today. Okay, let's try this second one. Paying attention to when I get to the dividing or multiplying step if I use a negative or a positive. Okay, 20 plus 3x is greater than 14. I'm going to go ahead and this is a positive 20, so I'm going to subtract 20. Okay, let me bring down the positive 3x is greater than negative, and when I subtract, I get 6. I'm going to go ahead and divide x. I know this is negative 2. Now let me pause. Okay, did I divide both sides by a negative? Okay, the number on the bottom is positive 3, so I divided both sides by positive 3. Since it's a positive, it doesn't mess up my inequality, so I keep it exactly the same way. Okay, let's try the next one. It says negative 17 is greater than 5 minus 2x. It's written backwards, but I can solve it. Let's see, 5 minus 2x, so this is a positive 5, so I'm going to subtract 5. Okay, negative 17 minus 5 is going to be negative, and since they're both negatives, I add them up. Keep the symbol. That cancels, and then I'm going to bring down the minus 2x. Okay, now the dividing step. I'm going to divide by negative 2 on both sides. So I get a positive 11, I get an x here. Now I stop. Did I divide both sides by a negative? Yes, I divided both sides by negative 2. Because I divided both sides by a negative, my inequality switches directions, and now it's that symbol there. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and I'm just going to be careful with my signs. Okay, example 4, 5 halves x plus 18 is less than or equal to 18. If I have x plus 18, I'm going to subtract the 18. 5 over 2x, cancel. 8 minus 18 is negative 10. Let's see, to cancel the 5 over 2, I'm going to multiply by 2 over 5. Okay, that's good. I got rid of the 5 and the 2. Okay, let me figure out the number first. What is this? That's negative 10 times 2 is negative 20. 1 times 5 is 5. So negative 20 divided by 5 is negative 4. Okay, now I'm going to look at my symbol because I did a multiplying step. Okay, when I multiplied both sides, did I multiply by a negative? No, this is positive and positive. So I didn't multiply by a negative, so I didn't mess up my inequality. So I'm just going to keep it the same. Okay, 2 more. Okay, example 5 says negative 3/4 x minus 1 is greater or equal to 5. Okay, so negative 3/4 x minus 1, so I'm going to plus 1. Negative 3/4 x, cancel, greater or equal to 5 plus 1 is 6. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cancel my fraction by multiplying reciprocal. So 4 over negative 3, and I'll do that on the right side. Okay, I cancel the negative 3, and I cancel the 4. Okay, now I got to do a little math here. Okay, 6 times 4 is 24. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. 24 divided by negative 3 is negative 8. Okay, let me pause. Did I multiply both sides by a negative? Yes, because this is negative 4/3 on both sides. So both sides got multiplied by a negative. Because of that, the inequality changes directions. Okay, last one that I'm going to do with you. This is example 6. It says 2x minus 7 is greater than 5x plus 8. And there are two ways to, no, there's more than two ways to do this problem. Okay, let's see, I have x's on both sides of the equal sign. I want to get them together. Okay, you could either minus the 2x or minus the 5x. And your answer will look slightly different, but we're going to end up with the equivalent answer. Okay, I'm going to minus the 5x. If you do it differently, and then I'll show you what your answer will look like at the end. Okay, if I do it this way, 2x minus 5x is negative 3x, minus 7, that, cancel, and then I bring down the positive 8. Okay, let me keep going. I'm going to plus the 7, 15. Okay, now I'm going to go to the dividing step. X, negative 5. Okay, when I was doing the dividing step, did I divide both sides by a negative? Yes, I divided them both by negative 3. Since I divided both by a negative, the inequality switches this direction. Okay, now if you did the solving by canceling the 2x first, you might have the answer this. And then you didn't divide by a negative, but your answer is written the backwards. This is an equivalent answer. It's equally correct. And depending on your method, your answer might look like that, or it might look like something else. Okay, you're going to go ahead and do some practice problems. The answers are at the bottom. Okay. This is 1 through 3. Go ahead and try them real quick. Pause the video and then check your answers when you're done. Okay, go ahead and check your answers. Number 2, the inequality did switch, the other 2 did not. The answers are also at the end if you want to check later. Okay, go ahead and try 4 through 9. Pause the video and then check your answers when you are done. Okay, go ahead and check your answers for 4 through 9. Especially check your inequality signs. Okay, pause the video if you're going to take a little while to check. Okay, here are the last practice problems. Okay, go ahead and try them, work through them, pause the video, and then check at the end. Okay, go ahead and check your answers. Pause the screen so you have time to look.